What's up everyone, and welcome to another YuGiOh Duel video. So we finally have ended the Varis event as a whole, and now we are proceeding towards the new KC Cup of 2023. Yep, that's right, 2023's first series of KC Cup. If you are unfamiliar with the KC Cup, this event requires you to duel online against PvP players from worldwide all over, and basically see how your deck performs overall. And if you each wins, that brings you closer and closer, increasing your D level to the point that you can reach into the final few rounds for the qualifiers overall. If you are interested in the event page, you can click onto the Kyber Code notifications information page right here and scroll down and read for yourself in terms of what are the recommended rewards, etc. and overall. So as usual, it comes to 2023 every year. KC Cup gives you a free sleeve, especially commemorating this year's KC Cup series, so there will be a sleeve as well as a game mat. And also, since this is the first KC Cup of the year, you should actually participate to collect all of your free sleeves as well as the free upcoming gems, as you can see from the challenge up there. Also, on a daily basis, once you participate in the KC Cup up to 4 times, you will obtain a total of 50 gems as well as the EX jewels that can be exchanged in the card trader EX, which I will go to in a few moments time. So currently there has been a new edition of the pack right there. It is now pack volume number 5. So Konami finally added something to the packs as well for this entire year. So let's click into it to see what's new. Okay, so first up we have Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. Okay, that's pretty decent. Yeah, that's pretty decent. I won't actually mind getting another copy of this. Second up, we have the Dark Magician from Dark Side Dimensions version. Okay, since we only have 2 copies thus far, this is actually a good addition for us to get 3 copies altogether. Next up, we have Shooting Star Dragon as well. Guilford the Lightning, the alternate art. Let's just say this old classic art is actually quite nice and reminiscent of the old days. But although it is Guilford the Lightning alternate art, it does have a better image. But comparing to the Guilford Lightning, the first one's actually much nicer, and this one has more 6-pack going up, as well as a dramatic flair to it overall. We have Phantom Sky Blaster, Token Collector, Wayne Karibo, Barry Tyragon, Skullmeister, which you can actually obtain from the card trader in front of the shop, Goddess with the Third Eye, Blockman, Curse of Dragon, Junk Kuribo, and finally an alternate art version of the Celtic Guardian. Okay, so this is, although it isn't actually anything new, it gives us the option to obtain additional copies of the cards of Shooting Star Dragon, Dark Magician, as well as the Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. And I'm not complaining, all the alternate art cards like Guilford and also Celtic Guardian are pretty good as well, so I won't actually mind getting any of those. But the other cards like Curse of Dragon, Blockman, and Transformator, all of these other cards, to be honest, I would rather have something else, something actually useful and not much more easily applied into any decks, splashable in any decks overall. But that's fine as well, since we got a new pack, new cards, as well as some new rewards, so we can actually determine and grind for in the KC Cup. So let's see how much it costs first of all for this new volume 5 pack. Okay, this new pack costs about 100 EX jewels, which is actually funny since you will be participating in the KC Cup. If you want to get the free 50 gems and EX jewels on a daily basis, you'll be getting 100 and 50 gems. Okay, that's fine. So essentially you can get 1 pack on a daily basis. But as per usual, if you win matches and proceed, win or lose, you still get these EX jewels over here. So once you actually do that, you can also trade for other packs aside from the pack number 5. Maybe you want to go to the older packs to see whether you are missing out anything else. You can also check that out for yourself. But that's enough for it today, because I'll be sharing with you one of the few Rocket decks that I've been trying out for myself thus far. So let's go. Okay, so this is currently my Rokket deck, as you can see for yourself. So currently I'm playing 1 copy of Rocket Tracer, 2 copies of Magna Rocket Dragon, 3 Silver Rockets, 3 Gateway Dragons, 2 copies of Metal Rocket Dragon, and finally 1 copy of Shell Rocket Dragon. 2 MSTs, 1 Quick Launch, 1 Dragon's Mirror. If you're asking me why Dragon's Mirror, I'll let you know later on. Polymerization, Boot Sector Launch, Super Team Body Force, 2 Borderload Furious Dragon. That's why I play both Polymerization and also Dragon's Mirror in the deck. 1 Dark End Dragon, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Topologic Bomber Dragon, the Elenterous Dragon, and 2 copies of Booster Dragon. So if you are familiar with the Rokket playstyle, most of the time if you actually check out the Rokket cards, most of the time when the Link monsters in fact target it, it auto self-destruct and also proceeds to have different effects overall, such as for Rokket Tracer, you can target another Rokket to destroy and special summon another Rokket from the deck. Henceforth, if you are able to actually get about 2 to 3 copies, this card is gonna allow you to help your deck move faster in the forwarding process. It doesn't necessarily have to target a Rokket monster to destroy. It essentially just target a face-up card that you control, destroy it, then special summon a Rokket from your deck to the field. So you can even play like Gateway Dragon, or even the core card of the entire deck to allow you to do much more special summoning, Boot Sector Launch. This card allows you to special summon up to 2 Rockets from your hands, or if your opponent has more monsters than you and you have an empty field or only have 1 monster, you can activate this card's effect to special summon the difference onto the field so they can match and go into a Link 2, Xyz, Synchro, or even Fusion, depending on what card you draw overall. So if you are gonna play that, that is actually one of the few combos I'm gonna actually share with you, because I'm playing Topologic Bomber Dragon. So if my opponent were to have something that actually swarms the field via special summoning or normal summoning, I can actually activate the effect using the Boot Sector Launch, and for bring out more monsters from the graveyard to the zones that this guy points to, and essentially destroy everything in the main monster zone. So clearing the board, so to say, and going for a 3000 attack point beater just like that. So the boss monster is Topologic Bomber Dragon. However, you can also see that I also put in a few other instances where I can go for Fusion, Borderload Furious Dragon, since I actually go for Link, Xyz, Synchro. So I'll be building my graveyard to a top notch to the point I can actually have a lot of materials to do from there for. Aside from that, Quick Launch allows me to do an extra special summon from the deck onto the field. Since I can special summon from the deck to the field, I also have the effect of letting Rokket Tracer, as you know, activates its effect to destroy that card and essentially bring out another Rokket monster just like that. And as per usual, at the end phase of every Rokket monster, if they are destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon another Rokket from your deck onto the field. Which is why I actually play about a few variations of the Rockets, as you know. Like, I don't necessarily just play 3 copies of this, 3 copies of that, but essentially just play a few variations just so that when I do pop like, for example, one of these guys, at least I can special summon 1, 2, and 3 or 4 other options overall. That is what's important about Rockets. You don't necessarily have to play up to 3 copies of the same card, but play up to 2 copies for the normal ones like this. However, for Rokket Tracer, I do recommend playing up to 3 copies because this is your combo extender. That way, this allows you to go into your Synchro Summon because it's a tuner monster. Not to mention, it's a level 4 monster. If you want to bring another level 4 monster, you can go straight into your Xyz Summon for a rank 4 just like that, as instant as you can. That is why I use Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon as my Xyz card. So whenever I'm in a pinch or whatsoever, if I would activate Boot Sector Launch, I have 2 other bonus cards in my hand. I can special summon all my monsters since they are all level 4, except for Shell Rokket Dragon, which is a level 2, because I just add that in for the extra point of variation, you know, because more differences, more variety that way. That way I can go into rank Xyz Summon or into my Synchro Summon. So the Synchro Summon into a level 8 Synchro monster, as you can see, I'm using Dark End Dragon. Once return target the monster your opponent controls, this card loses attack and defense, then send that card to the graveyard. So as you know that this card actually targets and sends to the graveyard instead of destroying it. The targeting is there but it's not destroyed. So certain effects like your opponent, if they were to use Mag Load and that certain cards need to be destroyed in order to activate certain effects. This card doesn't actually do that. It just sends the graveyard, targets, and sends, so there actually isn't anything they can do about that. But proceeding forward, since it's at 2600 points of attack, compared to Dark Rebellion X Siege Dragon. If your opponent is using a monster of a higher attack points, or basically a super beefy tank monster, drain those attack points away and give it to Dark Rebellion X Siege Dragon, so that's your contingency. And aside from that, if you have actually like Borderlord Fierce Dragon, you manage to obtain multiple copies, I do recommend using Dragon's Mirror or even the regular polymerization. That way you can go into Borderlord Fierce Dragon to destroy a card that you control to pop another card your opponent controls. That way, not only are you able to destroy a card your opponent controls, but at the end phase, all of your Rokket monsters have their own individual effects that will go off and allow you to special summon another Rokket from your deck onto the field. And that is a great combo to have, especially if you are planning to go into Link 2 or even your Link 4 monsters. But overall, for this entire deck on its own, I do recommend the 3 core cards, which are Rokket Tracer, Quick Launch, and also Boot Sector Launch, to have at least about 2 copies of those cards. That way your deck has a much more fluidity and consistency to bring out much more monsters overall. For the draw engine, there isn't actually necessarily a draw engine. You just need to special summon as much as you can, because most of them have their own floating effects when destroyed or popped by card effect and sent to the graveyard. That way you can actually have much more effects going forward. This is why most of the time Rockets you can play and go into Link 2 monsters quite easily, or even other forms of fusions overall. So this is why my extra deck consists of both of the Fusion, Synchro, Xyz countermeasures as a way for you to go forward. Although you can also argue that if you were to use this deck, Rokket, giving it to Chaz Princeton, who has the skill, allows him to have a Dragon's Mirror to add to his hand, as well as the fact that he can go into the 5-headed dragon, then that's actually a good combo for you to go as well. But so far, this is how I actually play my Rokket. So I get to special summon, I get to destroy, and I have a lot of variations of other combos to go forward. But not much countermeasures as well, because something like negates. Maybe I can get rid of Super Team Body Force, add in some negates in there, just so that my deck can flow much faster. But as you can see on its own, this entire deck is pretty much fast paced in a way that you can do everything and anything as long as you get the proper amount of Rokket monsters into your hand and do not break with spell or traps. You can also argue that you don't actually need to play MST or even Super Team Body Force or even any of the other cards. All you need to do is use a Quick Launch, maybe 3 copies, 2 copies of Boot Sector Launch, a copy of Dragon's Mirror, as well as maybe other Rokket cards that actually support the entire archetype, that allows you to do much more combo going forward. Cards like, for example, Tactical Exchanger is a good example to have inside your deck. So if your opponent was to target your card like Karma Cut, one card that you control, you can actually activate this effect to destroy your card and also send it to the graveyard to special summon another Rokket monster onto the field. So not only are you destroying that monster and getting its floating effect at the end phase, regardless whether it's your opponent's turn or during your turn, you'll actually be thinning out your deck pretty often. So I do also advise that you finish a match as fast as you can, because this is a very fast-paced kind of playstyle. If you want to go for Rockets, this is how you're gonna play it. So that's basically it for me sharing the entire profile of my deck as a whole. So the skills I managed to acquire is Storm Access. So this card allows me to gain these few cards if my life points were to be reduced to 1000 or below. That shouldn't be hard, considering the fact that there are a lot of opponents who can actually do a lot of burn damage, or even basically beef monsters to beat my life points to a pulp. I can actually do that and literally just pretend to be breaking, or even have something as a form of negation or something. Then basically activate this effect, Storm Access, to get either Topologic Bomber Dragon, Topologic Trisbana, Gumbler, or even Cereboros, but most of the time it's quite randomized. So even if you do not have Topologic Bomber Dragon, this is actually one of the few chances, and maybe you might get the Topologic that you want or do not want, but that's fine, it's still Link 4 anyways. Aside from that, I would also recommend, if you do not have Storm Access, you can also get in the name of Hanoi, Rokket Reload, or even Borrow Launch. For Rokket Reload for Borrow Launch on the other hand, yeah, if you want to use this card, it's better if you actually have a Borrow Load standby already in your deck, or even a Topologic. That way you can actually have this skill to go off. But this skill, as it says on the description, your extra deck contains Borrow Load Dragon. So if you do not have this card, then this skill is pretty much useless, and you best be stuck with the Rokket reload, which allows you to have a Borrow Generator. So it'll be sending 2 monsters from your hand to grave, add a Borrow Generator from outside your deck to your hand. It's a pretty decent card to say, but not really, because you'll be discarding two forms of resources in order to have a card that basically revives the Rokket from your graveyard to your field. So basically that's it for the video. I wish you guys good luck for this entire KC Cup event, and if you are interested in knowing how I play this entire my Rokket reload deck, just let me know, so I'll actually post a gameplay of it maybe for the KC Cup or something. But until then, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. And do your best in the KC Cup for those free packs and duels. Goodbye, good night, and see ya.